Well, this one was hard to watch. Not only was it really not that exciting, especially because when you look at the two fighters that we had in there being Khalil Rountree and Jamahal Hill, when this fight got announced back in March, we thought this was going to be a barn burner. Thought it was going to be a great fight, but fuck, this was not it. Khalil had some great moments though. I can't lie. He had some great moments. Like that two-piece combo he hit, that shit looked amazing. He looked fast as hell. He looked comfortable in there. He putting his hand up. He doing like bolo kicks, if that's like how you want to call it, where he raising a hand as a distraction and throwing the kick. He just looked really comfortable out there. As soon as the fight started, it was some animosity, you could tell. As soon as the fight started, he literally took one or two steps towards the center of the octagon and let Jamal come to him. So he was just comfortable in there. That nigga Khalil Rountree is so vicious. I would not want to fight him. Like, the fact that he's just such a nice guy outside of the cage, he seems timid. He comes off kind of like soft in a way. Like really introspective, like a hippie. But bro, in the cage, he is fucking vicious. He's mean. Like, he has a level of swagger and confidence and the speed and it's just so fucking, it's just deadly. The body kicks, the leg kicks, everything is just so fast and explosive and it's just brutal. Like, I remember the first time I ever heard about Khalil Rountree was when he blew out that dude's knee with that oblique kick or that side kick to the knee. It was fucking brutal. And then, bro, did y'all see what he did to Anthony fucking Smith? It was so bad. Like, he was literally hanging over him with his fist, like, ready to just drop the fucking hammer. Like, bro, I would not want to fight him. Like, I would not want to fight him. Like, light heavyweight is full of these big dudes that's 6'4", 6'5", but Khalil Rountree still finds a way to stand out in that division as still one of the best strikers in that division. Like, he can do a lot in that division still. Like, because the speed and athleticism, because he's still a big dude. Like, that's why it's crazy. Like, he's one of those, like, muscle-bound, stockier dudes for the division, but he's fast as shit. Everything is super aggressive, and it's just like, and the power is just out. It's just a real brutal dude. I wouldn't want to fight him. It was that time, I think it was in the third round, where he dropped Jamahal Hill, and bro, it was so bad the way, like, he stumbled. Like, he looked punch drunk. And I'm surprised he got up from it. And Khalil was just patient the whole time. Like, it happened, and he just kept letting the fight come to him. He didn't try to jump on it. I don't know if that was, I don't even think that he felt like he was in danger of getting knocked out if he tried to go for the finish. I think that he was just having fun in there. He was confident, and he just looked really, really good and really polished. Like, to this day, he still gave, well, of course, outside of Magomed. No, I can't even say that. I guess at lightweight, but he only fought Jan, and I can't forget that statement. I was gonna say that he gave him his toughest fight, but you really can't say that because Jan Blachowicz literally went to that should have been a split decision. If it was a split decision, I forgot. And obviously the Izzy fights, but yeah, it's just Khalil Rountree is a monster dude, and he's very, very underrated. Like, every time I watch him, it just surprises me how athletic he is, how even though he's undersized for the division, he's super athletic, super fast, super brutal. His Muay Thai looks so fucking good. And I wouldn't want to fight him. Jamal just don't look how he used to look. And he's been one of my favorite fighters over the last 3 years. I would say he's at least in my top 10. I'm leaning more towards top 6. And yeah, this version of Jamahal Hill is just, wasn't the version that I've watched. Like, Jamahal Hill, even though he's a counter striker at range, he has really good inside fighting where he's throwing knees to the body. He's in a clinch, uppercuts. He wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't getting his kicks off. Like, Jamahal Hill, when I remember I first watched Jamahal Hill, I randomly watched Jamahal Hill one day because I did. I wanted to do this thing where I watch a random fighter every day for a month just to watch more UFC. And Jamahal Hill was like on the 5th day, I landed on Jamahal Hill. Basically, what I would do is I would use a randomizer to pick a division. Then I would do another randomizer to pick the ranking in that division. And it landed on Jamahal Hill based off of his ranking in the light heavyweight division. But yeah, I watched his fights, and the Dana White Contender Series fight, I loved it. Like, it was just so unique the way he fought, because the way he fights, he literally throws kick combos. Like, you don't really see that. He's throwing kick combos where he's going low kick. He might go low kick into a body kick. If you looked at the fight with Glover, he literally threw like 3 head kicks in a row. Like, you don't really see a lot of fighters doing that. And this used to be Jamahal Hill, where he's just floating in and out. He might throw a leg kick into a teep. He's not doing that anymore. Throwing the knees down the middle, he's not doing that anymore. Throwing the knee to the body. That was another thing that he used to do a lot. And now he's just so box heavy. It's the whole fight, this fight, it was just completely box heavy with him throwing low kicks. And I didn't really like that. I genuinely didn't like that. I don't feel like he didn't look athletic. Jamahal Hill has only been getting bigger and bigger through these fights, and I felt like with Yuri, it wasn't as bad, but the belly was still there. But I honestly think Jamahal Hill could make middleweight. Like, if you look at his frame, go look at that fight on the Dana White Contender Series. Jamahal Hill is not a big dude, like, in any way. Even if go look at like an Izzy. Izzy was small when he got in, but if you look at him now, Izzy has huge quads and he has a smaller upper body, but he's probably walking around 220. Jamahal Hill was talking about he's 250, but Jamahal Hill has a belly. I genuinely think Jamahal Hill could fight at middleweight. I genuinely think that. And if he can't fight at middleweight, he could be in way better shape than he is now, because he's just really not that big of a dude. Like, if we be honest, like, he don't have a big back. He don't have big quads, not a big chest. He's just not, but he's still a light heavyweight, but I don't really think when you stack him up against these other light heavyweights, he's not in the shape they're in. He doesn't have the size that they have. So I feel like with his athleticism winning, I wonder if it's because of the Achilles injury, but I just don't. The athleticism just isn't there. I don't think the weight is helping either, where it just don't even feel like he has the same athleticism and the explosiveness to even throw the kicks in the first place. And I feel like he's really tough, though. Really extremely tough. Taking all those leg kicks from Khalil Rountree. He has a chin, too. He's always had a chin. Still taking big shots. Even though he did get knocked out in his last 2 fights, still has a great chin. That kept him in there, but I think to a certain extent, I don't know if it was just the speed of Khalil keeping him away, but I also kind of felt like Jamahal Hill wasn't trying to get knocked out again. Like, it felt like the way he was just sitting at range, taking those low kicks, not really jumping into the fire. I don't feel like he was fighting to win to a certain extent. I feel like he was fighting to get to the decision. And like I said, I love Jamahal Hill. Like, I've watched every single fight of Jamahal Hill since the beginning of 2022. I watched the Johnny Walker fight. I watched the Thiago Santos fight. I watched the Glover fight. I watched the Yuri fight. I watched the Alex Pereira fight. So I'm a really big fan of him, but I just got to call out how I see it, and I feel like he's not the same fighter. And I guess he'd be fighting a lower ranked opponent now. But the thing that I'm scared of, people already hate Jamahal Hill because of, I guess because he's being salty. That's what they say. But I'm scared because I genuinely feel like the revisionist history on Jamahal Hill's career is going to be really bad. If he literally goes down and he doesn't win another fight, he goes out like this, it's going to be bad, because it was always a weird narrative to me that people didn't want to give Jamahal Hill his credit for beating Glover because they was claiming he was old and he was washed. But that same old washed Glover literally took Yuri Prochazka to the 5th round, and he was literally 20 seconds away from winning that fight. And Yuri Prochazka almost got finished by him multiple times. And he was going to fight him again before Yuri got injured. And people were still going to give Yuri his credit for that win. Plus, they gave him the credit for the win he already had over him. But when Jamahal Hill dominates him, literally dominates him, nobody gives him any credit. It just never made any sense to me. People really couldn't explain it. It literally made no sense to me. But I feel like now, with the narrative being how it is, and people seeing him lose to arguably the top two of the top two of the top three in the division, they're going to look at it like, oh, well, you really did beat an old washed-up Glover because you couldn't beat anybody else at the top of the division after that, because he got his title shot from beating Thiago Santos. And he was number 7 at the time, and Thiago Santos is already kind of out the door. If I'm not mistaken, that might have been his last fight. So the revisionist history, it just does not look good. It really doesn't look good. And on his rise, I think he beat Jimmy Crute. He got submitted by Paul Craig. I'm just nervous. I'm not nervous, but it just kind of makes me feel kind of bad that I feel like the revisionist history just isn't going to be kind to Jamahal Hill, even though I really think he's a really good fighter. And he's still one of my favorite fighters. And if I was doing the top 10 and I had to pick, let's say all these guys were fighting who I'm tuning into, he's definitely going to be on the top 10 of fighters that I'm dropping everything to tune into. But that was my thoughts on it. I don't feel good. I really don't feel good about this. Jamahal Hill, like I said, one of my favorite fighters. And yeah, this kind of broke my heart. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I remember getting the news that he had tore his Achilles. I remember seeing it. I was devastated because I really wanted to see that. I think at the time, was he going to fight Yuri or was he going to fight Alex Pereira? One of the two. No, Alex Pereira didn't move up yet. So he was in talks of fighting Yuri. So we missed out on that fight. Not to mention, because of that injury, we don't know what it did to his career. But yeah, that's all I got to say.